Russia has threatened to shut the gas off to Europe. But can Russia actually do that in reality? If Russia stopped sending natural gas to Europe, wouldn't it have to send it to somewhere else instead? 40% of Europe's gas, natural gas, comes from Russia. And last week, the Russian Deputy Prime Minister, Alexander Novak, well, he warned Moscow could turn off the gas to Europe in response to these sanctions. But it's not that simple, no. Not for Russia to just turn off the gas. Somebody like Putin loves the optics, though, of closing the pipeline, threatening Europe. Well, closing the supply spigot, in reality, natural gas doesn't really, work like that, no. You cannot just, really just stop mining that gas, no. You're going to have to store it somewhere. There's only so many places you can. Like the big gas storage tanks. If you do not have somewhere for natural gas to go, you're going to have to, put it somewhere. And your only choice is either to let it flare into the air, like a blowtorch, or to continue shipping it elsewhere. Now, flaring that volume of natural gas would be a catastrophic environmental crisis. It's a waste. But also, it would be terrible for Russia's economy, because they won't be selling it. There'll be no rubles or euros as per the contract. But if it didn't go to Europe, why couldn't Russia just route it elsewhere? To another willing customer? I mean, they've been building infrastructure, haven't they? And the Russians and the Chinese, to do just that. That's what they've been doing. Well, that's a very, very good question. But here, we need to understand the geography. And we also need to understand what natural gas is. Now, natural gas is obviously a gas, and transporting this natural gas as a liquefied gas, natural gas, to China is very difficult because of the location and where natural gas is produced. The other thing you need to remember is that natural gas that, let's say, for instance, comes from the North Sea, is high calorific. It's more powerful. And natural gas from Russia is pretty much the stuff that you get into your homes. Now, we have actually, in times, we've actually sent our gas to Eastern Europe to process it, decalify it, make more gas, dilute it effectively, because it's too strong. So we're going to have to be having to talk about more pipelines if you're going to transport that amount of gas. And the reality is the pipelines transport Russian natural gas to China. It's not there to ship that volume, that amount of natural gas that we're talking about. Currently, in the last few years, Russia's been exporting to Europe between 170 and 200 billion cubic metres of gas. Now, if you were to redirect this natural gas, you would need, first of all, the capacity in the pipelines, which they have not got, even with this new pipeline. And even if the Russian China, they signed an agreement in 2014. Oh, wasn't at the time of the invasion, the annexation of Crimea? I think so. Well, the power of Siberia pipeline. And there's currently only transiting around 10 billion cubic metres of natural gas. And it's supposed to have a much larger volume, about 35 billion cubic metres. But because of technical issues and because of the problems with transportation in other areas of the Russian pipelines, it's not working. The new pipeline of 30 billion cubic metres in capacity won't be ready anyway until 2030. No. And if the Russians couldn't redirect the natural gas, it would be turned off. The spigot somehow, the big valve. and just start burning money, because I'd have to flare it. At a time when Russia really needs the money, the sanctions, it's crippling their economy. They can't afford their big missiles, no. They can't get the parts. Some of the parts were made in Ukraine, and they can't get them now. Definitely not. So I think it's in Russia's interest to continue selling the natural gas to Europe. I don't think they can really not. And if the West refuses to pay in rubles, Russia will just have to accept that. As per contract. To be paid in euros. Not rubles, no. Anyway, what do you think? Please leave in the comments down below. We all like to know. And I do try my best to read most of your comments, you know. Anyway, ta-ta.